Hello, my name is Alex. I'm obviously here with Non-Stop Kids Entertainment. You're on our Facebook page, so you will know that obviously. Also, the t-shirt is a bit of a giveaway. Oh, Deanna's watching. Hello, Deanna. So we're going to be doing some cool things today. So we're going to start off with some magic that I have done lots and lots and lots of times before. We have a bag and we have some ropes. I'm going to do some magic with those. But also I've got some new stuff with this and this that I've not yet performed, or at least not yet performed properly, but I thought I would show you guys first so that you can potentially see some magic go wrong and we can all have a laugh about it. And if it goes right, then hopefully you'll see something amazing. You'll see me do something amazing that no one else has yet seen me do. We're also going to be doing some cool maths things. Now, if you've seen my maths videos on our YouTube channel, you will have seen me do some stuff with these before. We're going to be doing some stuff with some loops of paper. I've also sellotaped some paper like this. You'll need a strip of paper. If you want to join along, you're going to need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You're going to need about 8 strips of paper, I reckon. Hello, Deanna. Deanna said hello. You're probably going to need about 8 strips or so of paper. Let me just, yeah, 8 strips of paper. And you're going to need to stick some together in crosses like this. Make sure when you do this you use a lot of sellotape because of what we're going to be doing. So if you've seen my maths YouTube videos, you're going to know what we're doing. In fact, if you go there, you'll see what I'm going to do a bit later on in a bit more detail. I've also got a quick puzzle that I'm going to show you that uses 10 identical objects. I've got 2p pieces here, but you can do it with circles of card, 1p pieces, pound coins, as long as they're sort of identical. We'll get into that in just a moment. So if you are going to want to join in, you're going to need some paper, you're going to need 8 strips, you're going to need a loop, you're going to need 3 stuck together sort of in crosses like that, and you're going to need an extra one. We're going to go into some of that a bit later on. Probably won't need pens, but I've got them just in case. You'll need some sellotape and some scissors. You'll need 10 of an item, and we're also going to see some magic. So what I think we're going to do, I'm going to set a puzzle. I'm going to do some magic, and between each magic trick I'm going to keep referring to a puzzle so that people who join us a bit later on can have a think about it if they want to. Then after magic I'll show you how to do a puzzle, then I'll show you some cool stuff you can do with some maths and some paper and some scissors and some sellotape. So let's start off with the puzzle. So let's get everything looking sort of neat. And we'll turn the camera around if I can. Perfect, I can. So that you can see the puzzle, which is this. These are, there we go. Hopefully you can see. These are some, oh, I should point out, by the way, if at any point you want to comment anything, if you want to shout out for anything in the show, if you want to shout out, just comment while I'm live and I will respond. If you're commenting while I'm not live, obviously I can't respond. But we have here 10 2p coins arranged in a triangle. We have the point pointing away from us, and we have the base, which is 4, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4 pointing towards us. Now the idea is that you moving only 3 coins, you take that triangle and turn it this way around. So you turn it upside down moving only 3 coins. That is your challenge. Take this triangle made up of 10 circles, move only 3 coins. I'm going to obviously not do it for you because that would be too easy for you at the moment. I'll give you the answer a little bit later on, and turn it the other way around. So that is your puzzle. I'm going to keep reminding you of the puzzle throughout the magic, and that means if you want to have a go at it, you can do. I'll probably give the answer to that puzzle towards the end of the video, maybe even after the maths. So that is your puzzle. We'll recap the puzzle in just a moment, but we're going to start off with some magic, which is brilliant because that's exactly what I love doing. We're going to start off with some magic. I'm just going to move the camera back a little bit so that you can see. I want you to be able to see sort of behind me because I'm going to be keeping something important just there. There we go. Sarah's joined in. Hello, Sarah. Right, let's. There we go. Stay. Perfect. So we're going to start off with some magic, and we're going to start off with this bag. Now, inside this bag, I have two things. I have here a Rubik's Cube. Hello, Tilly Baker said hello. Hello, Tilly. That's actually my mum. Her name's Bev. I don't know why she's called Tilly on here, but yeah, that's hello, Mum. Right, so we have a Rubik's Cube. This is a really old Rubik's Cube. I've had this for a number of years now. It's never actually been solved. Since learned how to solve Rubik's Cube, I've just never solved this one. I figured it would be a nice reminder. And inside the bag, I also have, if I can find it next to it, there we go. Yeah, I also have, sorry, it's a new Rubik's Cube. Jack said hello. Hello, Jack. Yes, I'm good, thank you. Fantastic. Hope you're well as well, Jack. There we go. But like I said, if you do like things, please do feel free to comment and stuff. We have a Rubik's Cube. This is brand new. Actually, I would like someone to comment the old or the new cube. Whichever comment I see first saying old or new is the cube that we will use for the warm-up. So I'm going to put the new one back in here. Hopefully we get a comment soon. I think there's a little bit of delay. While we're doing that, I'll just remind you of the puzzle. I've got that triangle of 2p pieces. You need to try and invert it. You turn it upside down, moving only 3. We're not getting any comments, or we are getting comments, but they're not coming through just yet. Oh, there we go. Old. Perfect. Jack said the old, which means we'll take the new one out of the bag. We're going to put the old one over here, and we're going to use the old one to do the magic with at the end. Now, before we can do the magic, I do need to warm up with the new Rubik's Cube. To warm up, I need to take it and mix it up like so. And the idea is we're going to try and solve this cube as fast as we possibly can, and that will be how I warm up. So what we'll do, we'll just do this, and there we go, it's solved. Now you see that is called cheating a little bit. Now what some people might think is I've got another Rubik's Cube over here because it went off the screen. Now I don't do that, and I'd like to try and prove that to you. I've got here a cube. We're going to mix it up in front of you, staying on the camera. Just making sure that it does stay on the camera. What I'm going to do is I'm going to try and throw it in the air very sort of gently. You might even see as I throw it in the air, there we go, it solves itself. That would be the cube. Now some people think that I'm cheating, and well, I sort of am. I'll sort of tell you a little bit about how this actually works. You see, a Rubik's Cube, no matter how many times you mix it up, is always 20 moves or less away from being solved, which I find really, really weird. Which means that you can do something like this. You can say, imagine the cube is like that, and you can shake it, and it looks like that. In fact, sometimes it's only 1 move away from being solved. And if it's 1 move away from being solved, it looks something like this. That really is a blink and you miss it type moment, isn't it? Anyway, Jack didn't want me to do the magic with the new cube. That was just me being technical. That was me showing off and messing around with what I can do with my fingers, warming myself up. Jack wanted, hello Craig, Craig said hello. Jack wanted me to do the magic with the old cube. Now the old cube is in this bag. I have not touched this bag. Jack wanted me to do the magic with the old cube. And hopefully if I've done this, Ryland and Fear say hi. Hello Ryland and Fear. You're like my 2 favourite kids here. You're like my 2 favourite of Craig's kids. The only 2 of Craig's kids. Inside this bag we have the old cube. Now if I've solved this completely without touching it, that would be amazing. Yes, if you think that would be amazing, hit the like, hit the heart, give a comment, whatever you want to do. If you are watching this live, I'll reply while I'm live, obviously. If not, I can't. Let's pour this out completely. Ooh, solved? What? There's nothing else. Where's it? My cube's disappeared. Well, you know what? I think I'm going to have to take this and put that on eBay or something like that. That'll probably hopefully get me a bit more money in this quarantine. Right, so that is my first magic trick. That is me doing some fancy stuff with a Rubik's Cube. A lot of you clearly like that. We're getting loads of likes, loads of comments. Just before I move on to the next thing, I'm going to remind you of my puzzle. We have a triangle like this made up of circles, and the idea is moving only 3 coins. You have to try and take that triangle and move it. I'm not giving you the answer yet, move it upside down. If you want the answer, you're going to have to stay watching until the end of the video. That is going to be revealed at the end of the video. That is my puzzle for you throughout this live. Craig says, awesome, thank you. I don't know if that's a puzzle or if that's a magic trick, but I'm going to say thank you regardless. Right, so that is the first thing that we've done. Now, the next thing that I want to do is something, again, that I've done a lot. Now, like I said at the beginning, I'm going to show you some new stuff that I've not performed for anyone, or at least not performed properly for anyone yet. You guys are going to be the first people to see me do it, which means it could, in theory, go horribly wrong. I'm hoping it won't. We're going to get to that in just a moment, but first I'm going to show you one of my favourite magic tricks that I do. I do this at most parties and most times I perform. I'm just going to stand up so that you can put the camera sort of, I think, over here. I'm going to move the table out of the way a little bit so that you can see what is going on. Perfect, right, and hopefully this stays here. No, it's deciding it doesn't want to stay there. Stay. Why is this not working? Boom, look at that. PhD in engineering, and I've managed to get the camera to stay up. Perfect, look at that. Right, so, where did I put them? Here we are. Can we see everything? My camera is now too high. Look at this. Wonderful technical expertise from me here. Boom, perfect. Ow, ow. Not see the case on the floor. Perfect. So we have some ropes here. Now, for this to work, we do need to have two pieces of rope that are exactly the same size. Now, luckily, I don't have two pieces of rope that are the same size. In fact, I have one really tiny bit of rope here, and I have one really rather long bit of rope here. But luckily, I am a magician. I can fix this if you let me. We have two bits of rope. I'm going to get really close here. We have the small one, we have the long one. We're going to take the ends like this. We're going to pull a little bit like this, pull a bit more, pull a bit more, pull a bit more, and there we have two pieces of rope that are exactly the same size. And this is exactly what I need to do this magic trick. You see, this magic trick is called the two bits of rope that are exactly the same. Oh no, that's not right. That's one piece of rope. Hang on a second. This was just two pieces of rope. And it has to be two pieces of rope because it's always two pieces of rope, and you can tell if you count the middles and if you count the ends. You see, there's one middle here. Now, if it was one rope, there'd be one middle and there'd be two ends, which means we have 1, 2, 3, 4 ends. What? No, that can't be right. You see, if we've got 4 ends, that means we've got 2 ropes, which is 2 middles, but that's not right, is it? Because we only had 1 rope at the beginning, which is 1 rope there. Now, I'm really confused. Who knows what's going on here? If you know what's going on, comment, because I don't. What did I say? Right, we're doing the piece of rope trick that needs 2 pieces of rope, so it's fine. I know what we can do. What we can do is very, very simple. We can take the ends like this, we can move them down here, and what we can do is we can just sort of pull this rope in half. It's very, very simple. We just take it and we sort of pull like this, and if we pull enough, eventually it will... What? No, that... Hang on a second. What? We've not got any ends at all on this piece of rope now. That's just... And we've got 2, right, hang on a second, we're going to put those over there. We've got our 2 ends, we've got our rope here like this. Now this is what we call a loop of rope, and this is not at all what I wanted. Luckily though, it is only 1 loop of rope. You see, if it was 2 loops of rope, oh my life above, it was 2 loops, that means we can't do it. Oh, no, it's not 2 loops, you see, that's a knot. Right, okay, we can fix that. And we can fix that if we take the ends, and if we put the ends back on the rope like this, we can just undo the knot like that. Now, actually, you know what? I think I know what the problem is. The problem is this rope doesn't want to do the piece of rope trick that uses 2 pieces of rope. It wants to do the one that uses 1 piece of rope. And that one is even more simple. What we do, we take these 2 ends and we put those away in my back pocket like so. If we put those away in my back pocket and snap, we hopefully get the 2 ends up here and the 1 middle over here, and that is the 1 piece of rope trick. If you enjoyed that, give it a like, give it a thumbs up, give it a comment. Let me know what you think. That is one of my absolute all-time favourite things to do. I do that in pretty much every single show that I do. So we're going to go back to our puzzle just very quickly. We have 10 coins. You can do this with 10 circles, 10 identical bits of things. And the idea is that by moving only 3 coins, you're going to be able to take that and take it from pointing down to pointing, if I can do this, there we go, up. Now I'm not going to show you the answer just yet. We're going to do that at the end of the video. I'm going to keep reminding you of the put that right around. We're going to keep reminding you of the puzzle throughout the magic show. So please do have a think about it. Make sure you know. It's going to be the last thing that I reveal. I've changed my mind. I said it was going to be before I do some maths, but no, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it at the very end of the video. So now on to some new stuff. Now this is something that I've been practicing for a very, very long time, and I'm finally feeling confident enough to actually show some people. It could go fantastically wrong. If it does go fantastically wrong, please enjoy it for what it is anyway, and give some love and give some comments and whatnot. If it doesn't go fantastically wrong, I think we need even more love and comments. Now we have 6 cards here. Now, as well as being a magician, I am also getting a PhD in engineering, which means I do a lot of maths, which means I'm very good at counting, and I counted 6 cards here, which means you can trust that I definitely have 6 cards here. If you do trust that I've got 6 cards here, please do comment and like, and if you don't, please do comment and like and tell me. But you see, I sort of get the feeling that you want me to verify, you know, you want me to make sure that I've actually got 6 cards here. So I'm going to count them for you. That's 1, that's 2, that's 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 cards. Sorry, I think that's just my girlfriend messing with my cards. We'll put that over there. So let's just double check again. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cards. Fantastic. Now the trick I'm going to perform for you is absolutely amazing. It is one of the first tricks that I remember seeing, and the first time I saw it, it just completely floored me. Craig says he doesn't trust me. I don't know if that's just about the cards or in general. It could be anything. I have counted, we have got 6 cards. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to take 1 card and I'm going to throw it like this. And what's going to happen is I'm still going to have the same number of cards. I'll show you again. Craig said he doesn't trust me. I'll show you. We've got 1, we've got 2, we've got 3, 4, 5, and 6 cards here. Now I'm going to take this, I'm going to throw it this way, I could throw it that way, I could throw it this way, I could throw it any way that I wanted to. And I will always have 6 cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Did I? Sorry, I think I dropped one. Hang on, just. Sorry, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Right, no, I've still got 6 cards. Right, that's good. Right, we've got what we've got. Just in general. To be honest, mate, I wouldn't either. Right, so we have got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And I'm going to put that over there. Right? Sorry, I think it's the maths in this room. It's slightly off. If I stand here, if I adjust slightly, we should now have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cards. Good. And what we can do, we can take 1 away like that, and still be left with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cards. Thank you very, very much, Craig. This is buckling my brain. It's buckling mine too as well, to be honest, mate. I don't know how I do it or why, to be perfectly honest. But yeah, that is my new favourite card trick. That is one that I have been practicing for a long time. If you enjoyed it, please let me know. Hit the like and the comment button. Do let me know what you thought of it. I've never performed that to an audience before. You are the first people to ever see me do that trick. If you do like it, please do show some love. And we're back to our puzzle. This is our puzzle. We have 10 circles arranged in a triangle. The idea is moving only 3 coins, 3 circles. We try and turn that triangle upside down like this. That is your challenge. I will show you the answer at the end of the live. Because now, though, it is time for... I wish you could do this with me. I wish I could do that with money as well, to be perfectly honest. It would make living in London a hell of a lot easier than what it is now, I'll tell you that much. Right, so, The final thing that I'm going to do is a magic trick, but it's not as much a magic trick as it is a game, and I'm just trying to get the thing, the mat in view. There we go. That should hopefully work. Boom, we have our mat in view here, like so. Now we need a mat because we're going to imagine that we're on the streets, and we're going to imagine that this is a small table, and we have some little props to play with. Now feel free to play along in the comments if you are live. If you are not live, sadly you can't play along. Well, you can play along in the comments, I just won't be able to see what you're commenting. I have a little bucket here. Inside this bucket I keep possibly the cutest builder's hats in the world and a small green pea. Now these are my favourite little props because they are incredibly cute. They remind me of when I used to play with Playmobil as a kid, or as an adult as the case may be. We have a little pea here as well, and the idea is you have to tell me where the pea is. Now do feel free to comment where you think the pea is. It's there. If you want to play along. If not, it doesn't matter, just enjoy what I'm about to show you. And the idea is you keep your eye on where the pea is. So if I were to ask you where the pea is now, you would obviously say it's in the middle, but that is not the game. You see, the game is you need to take these little hats and you need to move them around like this. And if you move them around like this, the idea is that you keep your eye on where the pea is. Now, obviously, if I asked you where it is now, you'd say it was in the middle, but that is not the game. You see, the game isn't I just move this one middle hat around. It is that I move all of these hats around, and it looks something like this. So if I say hat number 1, hat number 2, hat number 3, comment where you think the pea is. Hopefully it will not be delayed too much. But most people, if you're like me anyway, think it is under hat number 1. But I'm going to cheat. You see, that is not where the pea is. The pea is not over here. The pea is in fact underneath hat number 3 here. Now some people think that it's to do with the order in which I move the hats, and it's not. You see, I can move these two first and then move this one and then do this and swap those around like that. In fact, I'll even give you a little hint. It's a very subtle, very small, very sneaky hint. Hat number 1, hat number 2, hat number 3. Where do you think it is? Craig says hat number 1. I think that was for the last one. Craig, you were sadly wrong, as you saw. The comments are being a bit slow, so at the moment, hopefully you're thinking it is under hat number 3. The hint was actually that's not where it is. It said it was a very subtle hint. It's not there. In fact, it is over here, and I'll tell you how I'm cheating. You see, what it is the P doesn't stay underneath the hat that I started with. Diana says 3, it's not under 3. Craig says 3, it wasn't under 3, it was in fact under hat number 1. And I'm explaining now why. You see, the P doesn't stay underneath the hat that it starts in. You see, if you just watch carefully like that, it goes between the hats. It looks like it's got little legs really, doesn't it? It looks like that and goes under there. So the thing is, what you're doing is you're watching the hats. You shouldn't watch the hats, you should watch between the hats. And you'll see, hopefully, the P escape. Now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to do this twice now. I'm going to do this twice. I'm going to do it once slowly and once quickly. So hopefully you're watching carefully there, slowly. Right. If you're watching carefully, hat 1, hat 2, hat 3, where do you think the P is? Now, a lot of people, they say it's under hat number 2. Hopefully that's where you think it is, but if you do, that would be wrong. You see, I said I was going to cheat. It is in fact here under hat number 3, which I think is a bit weird, to be perfectly honest. Now, the reason this works is because you have something called object permanence. That means that when I put that hat over that P, you know that that P is still underneath that hat. Now, I could do this. I could move these ones around. I could add these here, but you know that because Craig, you said it was 2. It wasn't under 2, sadly, mate. Because I'm moving these two hats around. If you didn't think that the ball stayed under here, which some people don't, if you're really, really young or stupid, you don't, they'd bet on one of these 2 cups. Now, if you're really, really young and really, really stupid, that would make sense. You might have seen I'm cheating a little bit. Right, watch carefully. There's the hat. Watch carefully. We're going to move these around. Move these around. Of course, it's not there. It is, in fact, underneath here because I was moving it around, because this game makes no sense. So what I'm going to try and do is take all of this out of my hands. I'm going to try and take as much of this out of my hands as I possibly can. I'm going to put the P here like this. I'm going to put the hat on top of the P like this. I'm even going to take this bucket and put that on top of the hat like this. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a second hat, I'm going to put that over there so that I can't even touch it. I can't cheat, I can't move that one around. I'm going to slide this forward. Make sure you keep an eye on that. Don't worry about this hat over here. This is my hat here. This is what I'm allowed to cheat with. Fell off the edge of the thing there. It doesn't matter. Okay, watch carefully. If I snap, that is when it disappears from here, and lands underneath the hat over there. Now, I think that is fantastic. But the weirdest thing is I actually keep the orange inside this bucket. And the orange doesn't even fit inside the bucket. That is a new magic trick that has not been seen by pretty much anyone who has ever seen me perform. It's one of my favourite things to do as well. I hope you enjoyed that. If you did enjoy it, like, comment, leave some love hearts, leave whatever on there. I'm going to move this out of the way because we're going to stop the magic there. We're going to quickly recap our puzzle, and then I'm going to show you some really cool maths that you can do at home. So here's our puzzle. Let's make it a bit neater. We have... let's just make that a bit neater. There we go. We have a little triangle of 10 2-pence pieces. The idea is we take it and move it so that it is upside down, or the right way round even now. But the idea is that we do it using only 3 coins. That is the last time I'm going to remind you of it before I tell you how it is done. But I'm going to show you some cool maths now, some absolutely amazing maths, and it's my favourite type of maths because it doesn't actually seem like maths. It's all to do with shapes and what you can do with some bits of paper, some sellotape and some scissors. Now what you can do, you can take some paper and you can cut it into strips. Now I've done that. What I've done is I've taken an A4 piece of paper and I've folded it in half along its length and then fold it in half again, and I've got these nice long strips of paper. These are about the right length and about the right width for what I'm going to be doing. I've got one loop that I've turned into a loop. I've got one that I've not yet done anything with. I'm going to teach you, I'm going to show you why in a minute. And I've got 6 that have been sort of put sellotaped at 90 degrees to each other like this, and you're going to see why in just a moment. So this is a loop. Now this is quite boring mathematically speaking. It has 2 sides, and if you take some scissors and cut it in half, perhaps unsurprisingly, you get 2 smaller loops, which is fine. You know, it's a bit boring. We all know that. It's a bit logical. It gets a bit more interesting if you take 2 loops and stick them together at 90 degrees to each other. So I've got some tape here. I'm going to see if I can find the ends. Now, if you watch my first maths video on YouTube, you'll find that I do have a little bit of an issue finding the end of the tape sometimes. Luckily, I didn't today. I'm just going to get some tape. Now, when you do this at home, or if you do this at home, do make sure that you use as much tape as you possibly can, because what we're about to do requires a lot of tape. So what we're going to do, we're going to stick some tape on one end like this. We're going to fold this over and make a loop. Fold that under there, that under there. And we want to get the other side as well. Try not to bite your tape like I'm doing. If you are going to do the tape, try and use scissors. I'm just biting because it's a bit quicker for me. Do be careful. Make sure you've got an adult supervision if you're using scissors and all of that, all of the usual stuff there. We're going to quickly do this. Slide this over here like that. And a bit more tape on the underside. Now I appreciate this is perhaps not what you had in mind when you're going to be watching this, but this is going to be worth it, I can assure you. So we now have 2 loops that have been stuck together. Now I'm going to cut these in half, and while I'm cutting these in half, or from now basically, I want you to comment, when I cut this in half along here and along here, what shape or shapes do you think will happen? Will I get 2 interlocking rings? What will I get? When I cut it in half, just comment what you think I will get. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut along here like this, all the way around, and I'm going to cut all the way around this one here. I want you to comment what shape or shapes you think I'm going to get. I'm going to cut it in half like this. Comment or like or whatever you want to do. What shape or shapes do you think I'm going to get? Now, if you know this, try not to be spoiling it for everyone else. If you've seen my maths video, you're going to know what this is. So I've almost cut one in half now. I'm going to cut the other one in half. I'm going to keep this to the last minute before I show you what shape or shapes it's going to make. And I'm sort of doing this in a slightly weird way, just to try and keep the mystery alive for as long as I possibly can. So we're going to cut in half like that. So you can see I've cut along there and I've cut along here. Now when I finish these cuts, what shape or shapes do we think it is going to make? I'm just going to make the final cut on that one and the final cut on this one. Boom. Now, as you can see, we've cut in half along here, in half along the bottom, and we have one shape, and it is a square. Now, the first time I saw this, I was absolutely gobsmacked. I had no idea that that was going to happen. Considering when we had one loop and we cut it in half, we got two loops, I was just blown away that you could get one shape and not two. And it was a square, it was a shape that you recognise. But if you think about it, it makes sense. Because what you've just basically done is you've cut a piece of paper in half, and if we bring that together, that's a piece of paper, and if we bring that together, that's a piece of paper, and that's just two loops back together. It made no sense to me at all, but it was amazing in my head. So that is what you can do with just a boring old loop. Now, my favourite mathematical shape ever is called a Mobius loop, and it is very, very similar, but it's also incredibly different. And I'm going to show you how to make one now. The only difference between a Mobius loop and a normal loop is that a Mobius loop has a twist in it. So I'm going to show you. If we take it like this, instead of attaching it like this, we're going to turn one side over and attach it the other way around. This is now called a one twist Mobius loop. Now, this actually is a shape that has one side, and if you want to see why that is, go to the Nonstop Kids YouTube channel and look for my first Fun Maths with Alex video. This is a Mobius loop, it is a twist. In fact, actually a three twist Mobius loop is the recycling sign, just in case you were curious. Now, if I cut this in half, what do we think is going to happen? Comment your answers. Do we think we're going to get one shape? Do we think we're going to get two Mobius loops? Do we think it's just going to be like this? We're going to get two Mobius. Tilly says, wow, it is wow, isn't it? It amazed me. Right, if we cut this in half, do we think we're going to get one shape, two shapes? Are we going to get, what do you think? Just, are we going to get something we recognise? Are we going to get a square, a circle? Are we going to get loops? What are we going to get? Now remember, when we cut just a normal loop in half, we just got two loops. It was a bit boring. Now if we take this Mobius loop and we cut it in half, we actually get an even bigger, even more twisted Mobius loop. In fact, I think this is a three twist Mobius loop, which is the recycling sign, if you can see it there. It gets even bigger, and the more you cut this in half, the bigger it gets. Which means what you can actually do is you can bet someone, but you can get your whole body through a shape like this. Deanna says two shapes. No, it's just one shape with one Mobius loop. You can even get, like, eventually, like, if we cut this in half enough, we'd get our whole body through here. And that, in my head, is just absolutely mind-blowing. Like, we get one loop, we cut it in half, and all of a sudden we have an even longer loop. We don't have, like, two loops like this, we have an even longer one. Now, what happens if we stick those back to back like we did the other loops, the other normal loops, and then cut those in half? And that is a very good question. You see, there's actually two ways of twisting a Mobius loop. You can twist it clockwise or anti-clockwise. And does it make a difference if you twist the two of them? Comment your answers, please. I'm asking questions. I want to see what you think. I'm not going to tell you the answers just yet. Does it make a difference if you twist it one way or if you twist it another way? Or if you twist like one way and one the other way, does that make any difference? And we're going to find out. So that's why we have these two. We're going to have one of these, we're going to twist in opposite directions, and one of these, we're going to twist in the same direction. So first of all, we'll start with the same direction. Again, if you're going to do this at home, please use loads and loads of tape so that they don't fall apart. I'm going to take this I'm going to do this. I'm going to twist it in the same direction. So I'm holding it like this. I'm going to twist away from me and stick it there like that. And again, use loads of tape. Boom. And again, the same, the other side. I'm going to get loads and loads of tape. And I'm going to twist away from me again. I did twist away from me, didn't I? Yeah, away from me. Good. So, here we are. Fold, twist away from me. Oops, twist away from me. And make sure it is all stuck together. So, we now have 2 Mobius loops stuck together at 90 degrees. What do we think will happen if I cut these in half? Will we get 2 shapes? Will we get another square or a variant of the square that we had earlier? What will we get? I want you to see your answer. I want you to comment your answers. See if you think you know what we're going to get. We are going to cut this in half like that. That, and that. And again, we're just doing the same thing that we did earlier. We're cutting along the middle of the flat strip of paper like this. You can see, if I can show you a bit more clearly here. We're going to make sure you don't cut your fingers. Be careful with this. Make sure you've got adult supervision if you do try this at home. I'm an adult, so I can supervise myself. And we're just going to cut along the wide bit here like this. Now I'm going to deliberately not cut this all the way just yet, because I want to know, do you think we're going to get 1 shape, 2 shapes? Are they going to be recognisable? Are they going to be squares, circles, rectangles? Are we going to be just gobbledygook nonsense shapes? Are we going to get, what are we going to get? Let's see, we're going to cut this in half. We're going to cut this in half again. And we get 2, my mum, Tilly Baker, says 2 different bigger square, and the answer is no. Deanna says a square, the answer is no. We get this, well, we sort of get a weird twisted square, but we also get this sort of weird, Craig, I have literally no idea. I didn't the first time I saw it either. We get these 2 sort of weird, twisted, sort of square-ish maybe shapes. Craig, I'm confused as well. It's just, it makes no sense that just putting 1 twist can make this much difference. Now we're going to do it again, but this time we're going to twist them in different directions. And I want to know, Craig, maths is more confusing than magic. That is because you do maths and you do magic and you don't do maths, mate. So, what we have here, we're going to get a little bit more tape, in fact a load more tape. And we're going to do the same thing again. We're going to twist here. We're going to twist away from me the first time. We're going to put this here. And I'm going to put a little bit more tape on there so that it doesn't come apart. Now this time, instead of twisting away from me, I'm going to twist towards me. Now that means that the 2 Mobius loops will be twisted in opposite directions. So this time I twist towards me. Now this means that these 2 Mobius loops are actually twisted in different directions. And I want to know, do you think that will make a difference? Leave your comments. If you're watching live, leave your comments. I want to know, do you think that will make a difference? Will we get 2 shapes, 1 shape? Will we get anything recognisable? Will it just be those same 2 sort of weird twisty square things again? Or will it be something else entirely? And I'm going to show you now. And then I'm going to show you the answer to the puzzle that Ryland says it will be a heart. Ryland is cheating. Ryland has seen my videos before, but yes, Ryland is right. If Ryland is right, we should actually get 2 hearts, and they should be linked together. There we go. We're going to do this. Cut along here. Cut along here. There we go. Now, what you can do is you can remember how to do this, and when you're old enough to be dating, for Valentine's Day, you can make a really nice present. Let's see if we can work out there. There we go. There's 1 heart. There's the other heart. That is 2 looped hearts. But Craig, but he's been trying out all my. I'm very glad he's been trying out all my insane math stuff. I'm going to be making another maths video to put up on, I think it's Friday. No, I'm going to be making another maths video tonight anyway. These are two hearts linked together, and this is one of the reasons why the Mobius loop is one of my favourite things in maths, because like twisting it one way and twisting it another way gets two completely different things. We have two recognisable hearts here linked together. I think it's a really, really sweet Valentine's present. You can guess what I got my girlfriend last Valentine's Day. Got her other things as well, but this was one of them. I've also got here, this is what happened when you twisted it the same way. It's just absolutely bizarre. If you want to know a little bit more about that, go and check out my maths and science videos on the Non-Stop Kids Facebook page, no, YouTube page even. I think there are some videos on there of me doing other cool bits and pieces. There's me making Volcano. There's so much other cool stuff on there as well. There's not just me, there's magic. There's, I think someone's been teaching you how to bake. Craig, I'm clever. Some people would say so, other people wouldn't. People who've met me definitely wouldn't. There's loads of cool stuff on the YouTube channel. Go and check it out. There's, I think there's some sign language stuff. There's interviews with performers on there. There's dancing, there's storytelling, there's yoga, there's you name it, it's probably on there. There's absolutely loads of stuff for you and your kids to be doing while we're all not allowed to go outside. The final thing I do need to do is I need to answer the puzzle. This is the puzzle. This is a 10 circle triangle thing. And moving 3 coins, we need to turn it upside down. Well, the first coin you want to move is this bottom one here, and you want to move it up to the top there. The next one you want to move is this bottom one here, and you want to move that up to the top there. And then if you can see the last one, you take that one and move it underneath to the bottom. That is how you take a triangle and you turn it upside down using only 3 moves. Guys, that is about all I'm going to be doing in the live today. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you've learned something. I hope you enjoyed the magic. Please do, even if you're not watching live, please do like and comment, say what you think, because I will come and check the video a bit later on and see what comments there are. Guys, thank you very, very much. I hope you have a fantastic day. You've just spent the last 45 minutes with me, so I do appreciate it. Thank you very much. Enjoy yourselves, and I will see you later.